I found my cats in a sewer a year ago today. This time last year, I found a mom and 3 babies in a storm drain near my parents' house, and I ended up taking them all in. The babies were about 5 weeks old at the time. Not that one. That one is Snap. She's 16. We've had her for a really long time, but today is the kitten's 1-year adoption anniversary. I took in all 4 of them until they were old enough to be separated from mom, and then I kept 2 of them, and my parents took in mom and the other baby. So in honor of Shrimp and Sunny's gotcha day, I thought it might be kind of fun to do a little cat-themed build, and I've built us a cat cafe. I will admit that I have never actually been to a cat cafe in real life, but they are pretty common nowadays. So if you're not familiar with the concept, the idea is basically that it's just a cafe that you can go and hang out with cats at. These are usually places where you can adopt cats. So they might work with a local rescue or a local shelter, and then they have cats in there, and the cafe is basically fostering the cats, and then you can go there, get a drink, grab some food, and then hang out with the cats while you're there. It seems like they're really effective with getting cats adopted, and usually the cats in there are pretty well socialized and usually do well with other animals because they're used to being in a cafe with a bunch of other cats. I think we have a couple of them here where I live in Orlando, but I just haven't personally been to one. But one of my friends did just adopt a cat from a cat cafe recently. I just wanted to explain that in case you've never heard of this before, because you're probably like, cat cafe, like what does that mean? So that's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to make a cat cafe for our Sims. Now, functionally, that's not really how it works in the game, obviously. What this is just a cafe lot type from Get Together. So your Sims can come here and buy a drink, they can get a pastry. You can't actually adopt any cats from here. I guess you could like shift click and add one to your household because there are cats here. I have the cat neighborhood and cat hangout traits on, and those 2 lot traits mean that Sims will bring their pet cats here, and also stray cats will hang around the lot. The problem is I very rarely see stray cats here. I usually just see other people's pet cats that they've brought with them. So I probably wouldn't encourage you to shift click add any of those cats to your household because they do belong to another Sim. That is outright stealing somebody's pet. Snap agrees it's bad. You know what? I actually have a really bad story about that. I did something really bad one time. I was playing my Legacy Challenge on Twitch. This was like maybe 4 years ago at this point. It was a while ago. But I was just streaming, you know, playing my little save. And I saw this really cute dog in Brindleton Bay. Its name was Greg. And I was like, no, I'm obsessed. I want to adopt Greg. So I literally just like shift clicked and added Greg to my household because I didn't want to go through the process of like befriending the stray. I just was like, I want Greg, so I will have Greg. Problem is, once I added Greg to my household, I discovered that actually Greg had a family. Greg belonged to one of the other townies in Brindleton Bay, and I took her. Oh, and the other thing is that Greg was pregnant. So basically, almost instantly after I added Greg to my household, she gave birth to puppies. 3 puppies. I did not know any of that when I first added her to my household, and that's karma. So all of a sudden, I had like 1 million dogs. So take this as a lesson to not randomly cheat to add Sims to your household when you see them out and about in the world, okay? Learn from my mistakes. But anyway, let me explain this build to you for a second, because funnily enough, I'm posting this today on my kitten's gotcha day, but I actually built this live on my Twitch channel on Snap's birthday. And honestly, realistically, the kittens and Snap could very easily have the same birthday. I don't actually know what Snap's birthday is because we didn't know when we adopted her either, but we just decided it was June 11th, and that was like years ago. I decided that when I was like 9. We knew she was probably born sometime in early-ish June. And same thing with the kittens. They were probably born sometime in early-ish June because they were around 5 weeks old when I found them on July 14th. That's just a guesstimate from the vet, obviously, and we don't know when they were actually born because they were born in a sewer. So it's entirely possible that Snap and the kittens have the same birthday, but I don't really want them to have the same birthday. I kind of want to celebrate their gotcha day more because I at least know what day they were found, you know, that's for certain. So long story short, I built this on what could very easily be all of the cats' birthdays. If we want to, we could totally say the kittens and Snap have the same birthday, but I feel like it seems mean to steal Snap's birthday like that. She's been through enough. She got little siblings and then she got cancer all this year. Like, she doesn't deserve to have to deal with sharing her birthday too. But the other main inspiration behind this build was the new Cozy Bistro kit. We just got a sort of cafe inspired kit theme, so I wanted to use all the new windows and all that new stuff here. And I'm sorry for just dropping that cancer thing. I probably shouldn't have said that. She's doing a lot better. She had surgery to remove a cancerous mass from her hip about 2 months ago. Kayla, you cannot just say, oh yeah, my cat's got cancer and not explain it further because everybody's gonna panic. I will stop talking about that and I will talk about the build more because that is why you are here. So you can see the floor plan of is it's actually pretty big on the inside. We've got in the main entrance the cafe stuff from Get Together. I was trying to make this really functional for gameplay because I tend to like build stuff like this sometimes that's maybe a little bit too small and your Sims can't really get around. So I was trying to make sure there was plenty of space for your Sims to like get in line and actually order a drink here because the cafes are glitchy enough as it is in Get Together. So I wanted to do everything in my power to make it a little bit easier to work with. So in the front, there's just a couple of tiny tables and then we've got like all of the cafe stuff. In the back, there's like some couch type seating. It's actually booth seating, but it looks more like a couch. And then we have a bunch of outdoor seating underneath the fairy lights. And now this little weird side entrance that I'm working on, this is actually the entrance to the apartment that's upstairs. That's one of those things that is kind of not functional. And it's maybe not the most realistic thing in the world to have this like really fancy side door into this tiny apartment, but I wanted to embrace it. So I have an apartment upstairs. It's just 2 bedrooms. And we were kind of joking that it belongs to my cat Snap when I was building this. It's really small. It's really cute though. And it turns out very, very pink. That's why this build is as long as it is. The video wouldn't be this bad if I hadn't built an entire apartment upstairs. But I kind of went overboard. I went all out. And the apartment is not necessary. Like you don't actually need that to play here. You can't even own a cafe in this game. Apartments above places like retail stores or like vets or even restaurants are a little bit more useful because your Sim can own them. So you can just choose to sleep there in your apartment above it. But on cafes, you can't own them. So there's not really any need, but it looks cool for storytelling purposes. So that's why I have it there. We can pretend that the non-existent owner lives upstairs in that apartment. That's kind of a general overview of the vibes that we were going for with this build. And now we're kind of going through and just adding in all the actual details. I think my favorite part is this little outside patio area. I really, really, really like how the fairy lights look. I used those toddler stuff fairy lights to hang across the whole patio. And then I mixed in some columns and like some little fences. And we've got a nice seating area out there. In real life, that would be so nice to go and sit outside under. I would actually love to go to a little pink cafe like this. Like this is dream venue for me. Oh, and also I'm building this in Magnolia Promenade. So that's the little tiny world of retail lots that comes in Get to Work. This is the one that's empty by default in Magnolia Promenade. So if you're looking at this and wondering like, what the heck is this place? Where are you building it? It's from that world. Easy to forget about that one. It's not exactly the most memorable or useful of the Sims 4 worlds. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of a flop. I do actually like the idea of a world like this, like some sort of community lot focused world. I just wish that it was bigger. Get to Work really suffers from being the first expansion pack. Like they did not have a vision for what they were going to be doing or like what kind of content, what the scope of content was going to be in expansion packs. And so this world is kind of like an extension of Willow Creek. I think this is meant to be just like a different neighborhood within Willow Creek. So it all looks like Willow Creek and it kind of looks like Newcrest too, but it's just like a section of 4 little tiny lots. I don't know. And even like the secret lots, the secret work lots from Get to Work, like the science lab is just in Oasis Springs, but it's not. It's like its own secret area, but it's meant to look like Oasis Springs. They would never do that now. They try and make way more unique worlds these days, but back then, not the case. Not the case at all. Now, one other kind of weird thing that I did was put in a little parking lot in the back. This is kind of unnecessary, especially because all of this world is very pedestrian. Like there's not actually a car entrance to this lot. Like there's no place where a car could drive. Even if you look closely, there is a road behind it, but there's no area for the car to like turn in. It's all sidewalk. It's blocked off with fences and stuff. It's meant to look entirely pedestrian. The like little brick lane next to it, it literally has pillars so that cars can't drive there. The Sims has done that very strategically throughout most of the worlds because they know that there's no cars in The Sims 4. So they designed the worlds to look like they're not meant to have cars. And this is just a great example of that. The entire place is an all pedestrian street. And honestly, in real life, that would be amazing. Like having this much pedestrian area, this is like ideal in real life. And that doesn't happen very often. It does certainly happen in some places, but like most places don't have that many entirely pedestrian only roads. And it's really nice when it does happen. So while we sit here and complain about how The Sims has no cars, this is like ideal scenario IRL. But I get it. It would be cool to have cars. This is why when people talk about the car thing in The Sims, I'm like, the Sims 4 is so designed to not have cars. I like can't imagine them going back and changing it to make cars even remotely possible in this game, because pretty much all the worlds are like this, where it's like, no, there's no way that a car could realistically get around these areas, and it's like designed intentionally. So I don't even know what a car update would look like in The Sims 4, because they'd have to change everything, or just like, you know, deal with it and like have a place for you to put a car, but it not actually drive off the lot or something. Kind of like how we do this now, where we're just like, oh, pretend the cars could get here. Just pretend they drive over the grass. It's fine. That's how a real car update would be. So anyway, I don't really expect we'll ever get a car update in The Sims 4. And that does make me kind of sad. I've said it before, but, and this maybe is controversial, so I probably shouldn't even say it. But if they made a car update for The Sims 4, I don't even care about having drivable cars. I really just want garages. Like if we got a real functional garage door that like rolls up like real ones do, because we have a couple fake ones that don't open, and we also have like the Snowy Escape sliding door that kind of looks like it could be a placeholder, and I use that one a lot. But I want like real garage doors, and I want like garage clutter. I want storage like that. That's my dream. I would love to have stuff like that. I don't really care about actually having cars though. I just want to pretend that I have cars better. I want to decorate more, but I probably shouldn't say that, because if The Sims made a garage pack but didn't give us cars, oh my god, imagine how mad everybody would be. Rightfully so, but they could never ever do that. It would be a disaster. Kind of back to the build for a second though, we're just trying to figure out color scheme, and you'll see I've tried a few different variants. I was really trying to make it a little bit more different from what I normally go for, because I've done a pink and white restaurant before. I kind of made like a pink and white bar for Valentine's Day, so I didn't really want it to be only pink and white on the outside. I've originally had tried like some white stone and some white brick, but I ended up settling for more of like a dark gray color instead, because it kind of matched the brick on the floor. So I tried to like make it a little bit darker feeling to have more contrast with the windows. I don't know if you hate that, but I tried my best. On the inside, it's obviously very pink and white. That's just unavoidable. I was using the bistro kit stuff everywhere, so it kind of just became all pink and white everywhere. And the best part, I think, of this place is the cat room. So we have kind of like a sunroom almost. It's a room off to the side that's completely surrounded with windows, and that's where I put all of the cat stuff. I think this is kind of accurate to a lot of real life cat cafes, where they'll have like a regular cafe and then a separate place for the cats, because it's like food safety, right? You don't want to have the cats walking all over the tables where your Sims are eating, or well, where you're eating in real life. The cats in The Sims do walk all over the tables where you eat. In real life, they don't want that as much. I think there's probably like rules and regulations about that in different places. So it might be different where you are. I don't know. All I know is what I've seen about my friends' experiences at cat cafes. But long story short, I wanted to have a separate room for the cats. It is still open, but there's kind of like a dedicated cat space back there. And that's where I put like all of the cat trees. There's some seating, there's toys to try and encourage them to want to hang out back there. And then as far as most other things go, there's just little tables, there's some plant accents. I really like the bar back for this cafe section. I think that the pink shelves with all of these cute little cat statues is so fun. I know it looks a little bit chaotic at first because I had to like fill in all the slots and add stuff in, but I swear it does start to look okay. It's not as bad once I get it started. It's the alt placing that's kind of difficult for these. And also in this cafe space, I ended up putting one of the little display cabinets, like bakery case items that comes in Get to Work, because I wanted to make it possible, if you really wanted to, for you to make it into like a bakery that your Sims can sell stuff from. You'd have to move a couple things around. Like you'd probably have to change out this cafe item into one of the retail store items, but then you could really easily just cook stuff upstairs in the apartment and then sell it from the display case. I have done that before in The Sims. I'll tell you that it's not the most effective way to make money in The Sims 4, because most of the baked goods, like the ones that you can cook with Get to Work and the baking skill, they're worth like 20 simoleons. Even marked up, they're really not very expensive. So the effort that goes into making all of them for the return that you get is probably not worth investing your time in. However, storyline-wise, it is fun to run a bakery. And I do think there's a level of fun to like the grind of trying to run a bakery. I actually kind of like it when my Sims struggle a little bit for money. I know that sounds really weird to say, but I enjoy them having to actually work, because there does come a point where you have so much money that it like doesn't really matter if they go into work each day. And I find it gets boring around that point. I've even been one to like cheat away money when that happens, because I just don't want to have 60K sitting in my Sims inventory. I'd rather have them actually work for it. Okay, in this little cat room, I was having a lot of fun with the decorating. I found these little tiny cat decals. They're basically stickers. I actually use these a fair bit in kids' rooms, but I haven't really used them much in community lots. And so I kind of put them in the windows so it looks like there's cats sitting on the cat trees. And I thought it helped as like a sign almost in the front windows as well. For a time, I was thinking about putting a shelf all the way around the top of the windows. In my mind, I thought it looked kind of like if you had one of those cat shelves, because you know how people make cat condos and cat trees on walls? I was kind of picturing that sort of energy with the shelving. The only problem is because the lighting is weird on the shelves, you can see all the individual shelves, so I didn't really like it. And obviously your Sims can't actually get up there, so I ended up getting rid of it. It was a good idea in theory, but I didn't like it. It was mostly a lighting problem if I'm being honest, but that's my issue like half the time in The Sims. I also don't really know what kind of flooring they would have in here, so I ended up putting a carpet sort of texture. I think in real life they probably wouldn't have carpet because you want it to be more easily cleaned, but I just settled for a pink carpet. I thought the kind of fuzzy carpet looked good. It's like a shag carpet from the Pastel Pop Kit. And then I tried to put stuff everywhere. There's like things in the middle, there's seats on the sides, there's trees all over the place. I mean, this is like a cat's dream, okay? This is my cat's dream. I would love to make a room like this in my real life house. Unfortunately, my entire house kind of looks like this. I literally have a cat tree in every single room in my house, and I'm not kidding. There's 2 cat trees in my living room, 2 of them, but I have 3 cats, and they use them all. They use all of them. I mean, you saw when I first went live, Snap was here on this tree, and now she's on the floor in her little bed next to it. My cats use all this stuff, but I do have an extreme cat house at this point of my life. Sometimes when strangers have to come over, like for example, we had a new air conditioning unit installed this year. So when the AC guys came to install it, I always wonder like, what do they think? Because I usually keep the cats with me, like closed into a room because they get kind of scared. So I would like hide in my bedroom while they're here. So they probably see all this cat stuff and think that I have like 50 cats because my house has been taken over by them. I'm not complaining. It's a lovely problem to have. But I think I do look a little bit silly when outsiders see it. We're kind of just going through and putting some finishing touches on the inside of this downstairs space now. And then I move outside to the patio. I put some pretty chairs and tables with these pretty scalloped umbrellas. Honestly, the Riviera Retreat kit is so good. Both of these 2 kits I have had so much fun with, like way more fun than I expected to have with them. I knew I would like them, but I don't think I realized I would like them this much. And even using them together, I use both the kits all over the place in here, and it really, really works. I put a couple of other fun things too. You'll see some planter boxes around. I did that because I wanted to have the catnip, because in cats and dogs, there's catnip that you can grow, and there's like 4 different kinds, and it all affects your Sim's emotions, the cat's emotions. So I made sure I had a bunch of it ready. I even like planted it so it's full grown. If you come here, you can harvest some. I actually never use that stuff, like ever. So it's nice to have an excuse to have more of it and like remind myself to play with it. And now we are finally moving upstairs into this little tiny apartment space. Shockingly, the entire apartment is pink. Nobody is surprised by that. It's not the biggest. It has the 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. It's got a really nice little kitchen space, and basically the living room is just one big square. And so we have a big living TV area and then a small kitchen and dining space. I used some kind of expensive appliances and things in here. I probably didn't need to, but in my mind I was like, nobody lives here. Nobody's gonna buy this place, so it doesn't matter how much it costs. There's no budget. It's just a cafe lot. Like nobody can physically even own it if they wanted to. And again, I was building it for my cat's birthday, so in my mind I was like, she deserves the world. She deserves to have everything, and so I will give her everything. She deserves to have a fancy stove. You might have noticed that we kind of skipped ahead a second ago, and that's because we're on day 2 of the build now. It took me 1 day to do the whole outside and downstairs and then kind of start the upstairs, and then I came back a second day to finish the rest of the interior. And in that time, I kind of like did the bathroom off camera and did the hallway off camera, just because there are things that I felt like weren't necessarily important to have as part of the video. It's already long enough. As far as the living room goes, I feel like I should probably apologize because I have been using that Home Chef Hustle tile in literally every build I have done for months. I don't know what it is, but that Home Chef Hustle tile changed my life. I use it all over the place. I've had to apologize for this in like multiple speed builds recently, but I didn't really realize just how much I had been using it until somebody pointed it out in my Twitch chat. They were like, oh, here she goes again with that tile. And I was like, oh yeah, here I go again with that tile. Oh no. So I did use it again in here, but it's just good. It has the best colors. It's fun. It's got like a slight pattern to it. It's really nice. And so I can't stop myself. Maybe if they gave us more tile, it'd be better, but we only have a few. So I've been using that one everywhere. I will try though, from this point forward, to use it less. I promise. I'll still use it, but like less, just a little bit less, okay? We're just doing some final details here in the apartment though. I've got kind of a cute little entryway next to the front door. I use the Bistro Kit chairs up here inside the apartment as well. I don't know if that's unrealistic because they are like kind of a metal frame that look like they belong in a public space, but they kind of fit and I liked the pink. I really went all out with the pink, but it's kind of got like a nice warm and inviting vibe to it because there's a lot of wood colors as well. But that pretty much covers the whole living space of this little apartment. You'll see that I also have a couple of bathrooms. One of them is big and I'll point it out more in the tour at the end, just in case you see it in the corner and you're alarmed by it. One's a big normal size bathroom. The other one is more like a closet and that belongs to the cat. There's like a 2x1 little bathroom and I put the litter box in there. It's kind of got its own whole dedicated setup. And then otherwise down here in the back, we have the big primary bedroom. And this bedroom is really nice because it has a huge balcony right next to it. That's like ideal. Honestly, balcony is not even really the right word. It's got like a rooftop essentially because it's on top of the whole cat section. So there's a lot of space out there. I put like a telescope and I think I put a fire pit even. I mean, I had all kinds of stuff. The bedroom itself isn't that big and it's kind of weirdly laid out because there's a lot of doors and stuff on all of the corners. So there's just not a lot of room for a double bed. I think it worked out okay though. I did end up having a computer in there. We've got a cat tree in there. And I also put a double door. And if you look in the corner, you'll see a little tiny cat door as well. So there's a door to the patio for the human and for the cat. And then the other bedroom, I kind of decorated more like it was meant to be a kid's room. I don't really have Sims in mind for who might live here because again, it's fake and nobody lives here. Because at first it was my cat and then it was just like a Sim who owns the cafe. But I think it's nice to have a kid space because I always play with Sims that have kids. So for my own gameplay, it's like I generally need a second bedroom for that. So I kind of just think that way about my builds normally. I also put a ton of those cat decals like all over the place in the apartment. I don't know if that's weird or not. I'm not sure. I tend to go a little bit overboard with things when I find cool items like that. And so I put them like all around, which maybe was too much, but it's fine. You keep catching glimpses of that tiny little litter box room that I've made too. In it, I kind of made it into like a storage closet as well. I put like a shelf and there's a broom in there. I kept joking, and this is really bad and I'll show you in the tour, but I found this like shelf from, I think it's Cottage Living, and it has a watering can and like a little scoop like shovel on it. And so I put that shelf inside of the room with the litter box and I was like, it's the litter scoop. And I just tried to put a plant on top of the watering can to cover it up. But I liked it. I thought it was silly. This is the last room though. We're just doing some final little details here in this kid's room. It's basically just a pink kid's room. It's got a unicorn bed. It's got an extra cat tree. I mean, all the important stuff. And we're kind of wrapping up the whole build here. So once we finish, I'm gonna pop back into the game and I'm gonna give you a full live tour of the entire building because it's always kind of hard to see what I'm talking about when it speeds around as much as it does. So with that, let's open back up The Sims. So I built this here on the Preeminent Domain lot in Magnolia Promenade. And on the gallery, it's called Snap's Cat Cafe and Bakery. So I'm gonna download this real quick and place it and then show you around. Here's kind of a quick overview of the exterior. And I'm sorry about the lighting. It looks kind of bad and shadowy in all different times of day. But this is what the front looks like. So I've got kind of a cute sign. There's some little cat stickers in the windows. And there's lots of places to sit outside if you wanted to come sit out here. When you come around the back, you can kind of see our small parking lot. I also put a dumpster just tucked away in this little corner. We've got a garden space for the catnip. This is that side door to enter into the apartment. And here's kind of a top-down overview of the actual interior. So when you first walk in, there's just a couple of tables that you can sit at. I put this book cart because in my mind, it was like a little free library, like take a book, replace a book. Here's that bakery case I was talking about. We've got cat bowls so the cats can eat. We've got this so you can eat. I really like this display case as well. I put all of these things, even the mugs, like custom placed, and I really like how it turned out. Around the corner, most of these are little booth seats, so there's more places for your Sims to hang out. I really enjoyed putting these big decals here too. Like, I've never used this one before. I kind of thought it worked. I did use it twice, but that's okay. Just ignore it. And then in the bathroom, it's very simple. It's just little bathroom stalls. I loved the cats above each toilet, and the cats have their own toilets as well. I actually don't think that these are functional when the cat door is right next to it like that, but there is a functional litter box upstairs. And I also don't think that the Sims will use the litter box when they're off lot, so I don't think it matters. This is the cat room, so you can see we have a bunch of seating for both you and for the cats. There's little toys, we've got these like cat dazzler things, there's treats in here. I am kind of obsessed with this section. And if you wanted to go into the apartment, you could come around the outside and then up this little staircase, and it has a little hallway and then a front door for the apartment, and this is that top-down overview of the full finished place. Here's a look at our living room. We've got space for both you and the cats. We've got a small dining room. We've got a really lovely kitchen. I am kind of obsessed with this coffee maker that matches the blue in the tile. This is the little cat room that I was talking about, and this is what I mean by the litter scoop. It's just like a shovel, but I pretended it was a litter scoop. We've got a really tiny little bathroom, but it's fully functional. This is that primary bedroom that I was talking about. They have a desk and everything. Small kids room as well with lots of toys and crafts and things. And then the best part is this patio. So we have a grill, we've got a table, there's a telescope, and I got a hot tub. I thought it was a fire pit, but I'll take a hot tub. That's better. I like that idea better. Thank you, Past Kayla. And that, my friends, is the fully finished cat cafe. So if you wanted to come here, because of the cat friendly and cat hangout traits, there will literally be cats. So you'll see them around. You could also, I guess, bring your Sims cat here if you wanted to. It's on the gallery if you want to download it. And thank you again for watching today's video. Happy birthday to Snap and happy Gotcha Day to my kittens. I love my cats. They have changed my life. And on that note, I'm gonna end this video right here and I will catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. Oh, and by the way, if you want to pop by to my Twitch streams, I stream every day on Twitch and I play The Sims all the time. We've been doing a lot of building recently, stuff like this. So I'll link that down below in case you want to come hang out.